Great to have you back again. Love the energy that you bring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I am energized. Today, the title of the talk is The Sacred Gift. And basically what this is it's my way of saying thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you who have increased your giving to this community. Each and every one of you who have increased your gift to supporting the financial and spiritual well-being of this community. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Come on. Woo! Woo, woo, woo! What you do is a gift. And what we're going to do today is bless it as a sacrament. So the offering's going to look a little different today, because we are creating a sacrament. And before we go any further, you're probably like, well, what's a sacrament, Rev Cherie? Well, here's one definition. A visible sign of an inward grace. Hold on to that. A visible sign of an inward grace, especially one of the solemn Christian rites considered to have been instituted by Jesus Christ to symbolize or confer grace. When you hear that definition, what comes to mind? What thoughts are going through your head right now? No censoring, right now. What are the thoughts? Baptism, marriage. Saving? Communion. Okay, good. Any thoughts of what the hell? And why are we talking about this in unity? Wow, you guys are getting used to me then. So that's good. What I think is that Jesus ushered in a new way of being. He created sacraments. What does that mean? That we can create our own sacraments as well. And so that's what we're going to do today. I like this definition better. Something regarded as possessing a sacred character or mysterious significance. I like that. That's powerful. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about a sacrament of giving and receiving, that we are going to be conscious in what we do. Conscious in that what we give is powerful, that we can't outgive God in the universe, and that it is a reciprocal energetic flow, and that places us in the flow of the universe. Imagine consciously being aware that you are in the flow of the universe. I don't know about you, but that just amps me up. So, what have I been doing since I've been a minister here? I've been reclaiming rituals, haven't I? We talked about Christmas carols, haven't we? And talked about reclaiming those Christmas carols. We even talked about sex and reclaiming the idea of sex and what we think about sex. And we looked at money not that long ago. In February, we looked at money, we looked at what are the beliefs unconsciously that are driving us about money. And then we held a workshop afterwards and where we looked at what stages in our lives did we learn those beliefs? When did they start to happen? Because in that understanding, we can then make a choice to change those unconscious beliefs. So, if we are reclaiming the idea of money, let's go to one of our gurus, Edwene Gain. She is like the prosperity guru of the Unity movement. And this is a quote from her book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And she says this about money. Money is like love. The more you give away, the more you have. Love is a limitless resource, and so is money. And you're going to discover the truth of the law of compensation. The law of compensation, that you cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive God. Somewhere in our belief system, we have equated spirituality, consciousness, divinity with lack and poverty. Like, there's a tinge of martyrdom that's associated with someone who's spiritual. I remember I was in the UK. It was our first year of marriage with Graham, and I needed to get a car. And there was this Merc. It was an old Merc, but it was a beauty. It had the AMD body around it. You know, it sat low. It was a gold color, leather seats. I loved that car. It was fun. It was fun. And then I started to notice that my honey wouldn't drive it. I'm like, why aren't you driving the car? He's like, it's yours. And I kept saying, BS, why aren't you driving the car? And it's because in his upbringing, that was not acceptable. That was too showy. That was affluence. Not acceptable as a spiritual being in his belief system. And so my question to you today is, how many of you are still working under that premise unconsciously? Do you fear your wants? What happens if you see your minister driving a Mercedes today? What's the first thing that goes through your mind? Be honest. I heard an applause back there. That's good. What else?
Watching too much Joel Osteen.
Too much Joel Osteen. We're paying her too much. Where is she getting that money from, right? Is there theft going on? Those are all of the thoughts that congregations around the world start to think when they see their minister being affluent. But I'm here to tell you that we are here to be abundant. We are here to be prosperous. I'm not saying that we need to worship materialism. That's not what I'm talking about. There's two different things there. I wonder if in our fear of wants that we go to the other extreme with materialism, as opposed to understanding that the universe wants us to be abundant. The universe wants us to be prosperous. All right. So today we're looking at being conscious about money. Because if we aren't conscious about money, then can we choose to change anything? If we're unconscious, we don't know that there's anything that we can do differently. So that's why we're talking about being conscious today. This is a quote from The Art of Consistent Giving by Toni Bain. And she writes this: I learned that consistent giving gets things in motion. It gets a movement in consciousness flowing. And the ever-ready and awaiting abundance in the universe begins to pour in from all channels and all sources. Now, maybe in the past you learned that you had to hoard, also known as save, money for a rainy day. How many of you learned that lesson growing up? Look around, my friends, you're not alone. Saving money for a rainy day. So what do you think will happen in our lives when we're saving money for a rainy day? Lots of rainy days. We get lots of rainy days. Yes, we do. So today I'm saying to shift that to knowing that money is simply something that we use for our divine purpose. Money is something that we use for our divine purpose. Again, Toni says this: through the act of conscious and consistent giving, tithing becomes more about the intention held behind what is given rather than the amount of percentage given. How many of you know or have seen Toni Bain? Okay. Toni Bain, she's a powerful woman in the unity movement. And she gets a lot of flack sometimes. Why? Toni shows up blinged out. From the diamonds dripping from her ears and neck and bracelets and rings. She is finely adorned. She drives a very expensive car. What is the unconscious belief running through people's lives or minds when they see her? Selfish. materialistic, arrogant, that comes up an awful lot, inauthentic, out of integrity, and the list goes on. And it's because of the belief systems that we have that are driving us unconsciously. So we see wealth and we go, there's no way that person could be spiritual minded. Listen to the thoughts when they come up for you. Listen to those thoughts because they are not true. Now, Edwin believes in a 10% tithe. That is the thing that people need to do, 10% tithing, giving back to their spiritual community. I'm a little bit more aligned with Tony in that it's about the intention more than the percentage. Because what we're doing is we're moving from the what's in it for me to being in the universal flow, realizing that this is just an energetic exchange, that whatever I'm putting out and giving is going to come back to me in unbelievable ways, larger than I can even imagine. Larger than I can even imagine. Remembering that I can't outgive God, and looking at how am I as a spiritual divine human being manifesting my life? How am I manifesting my life? So when we talk about giving where you're spiritually fed, Edwin says this about spiritual food. It is that which inspires you, lifts you up, and lets you remember who you are. It gives you a boost, a feeling of hope and inspiration. It brings you joy, and you know you're living your divine purpose when you experience joy. So that's my passion and commitment to you, to inspire you, to remind you almost every talk, the truth of what you are is a divine human being. But I don't stop there. I also challenge you. I challenge you to remember not only the truth of what you are, but to live the potential, not be the potential, but to live it, to act it, to know it. And so today, we are going to start that energetic movement as we create a sacrament. And I'm calling it the sacrament of alignment. Sacrament of alignment. Aligning with the universal flow. So it's going to look a little differently, and I'll give you directions so you'll know what's coming and what to expect. But right now, we're going to ask Millie to come back up as she prepares us for meditation. I want you to think of this as a sacred moment in your life. So be open to her music. Let it just kind of crack open your heart chakra a little bit. Loosen your mind, your third eye, to the possibilities. And then we'll meditate, and then we'll do the sacrament.